Welcome to the Inner Within. My name is Vickie Spray. I'm a spiritual counselor and I'm the founder of Evolve Talk. If you're at this website, you are somebody who looks outside the box. You're someone who has seen that our world could be better, and you actually have ideas on how to make it better. And you are someone who probably has stepped outside the box most of your life. You're probably someone who doesn't fit into the family mold. You're probably the rebel, the person right outside that box. And you're a seeker. You've wanted to know more. You've attempted organized religion, and perhaps that satisfied you for a while, and perhaps it didn't. You're wanting, perhaps on a much deeper level, to be connected to that spiritual self that you have suspected was there, that you've probably experienced in some way. Evolve Talk was created specifically for you. And I'm actually very similar to all of that. My own personal journey is one that I've desperately wanted to be a part of the spirit world. I've desperately wanted to be connected to the thing that created all things. I tried organized religion, and it served its purpose for a short while. I grew out of that. It wasn't something that could keep me, because I knew that I needed to have beyond that. So it's an interesting journey, this spiritual journey. It has lots of ups and downs. It has a lot of twists and turns. You've probably experienced a lot of that yourself. The internet is a great place to go for information, and perhaps in your own church, your more enlightened church, you're finding some spiritual food there. I nearly killed myself trying to get to normal. I tried getting to the 9-to-5 job. Finally, I thought that I had reached the normal. My pantry was full of food, and I had insurance, and I had some savings, and I could eat out in restaurants, and I could buy things, and I had reached normal, and it nearly killed me. And it nearly killed me because I thought that I had achieved the American dream. I had built a house with my partner, I had dogs and cats, and like I said, the food in the pantry, and the savings, and friends, and I was an organizer. I loved my life in so many ways, and yet deeply I was suffering. I was suffering because I wasn't doing the work I was supposed to do, and I didn't know what that was. And there was conversation now in my culture about purpose. And so I sought to find my purpose, and I didn't know how to do that either. But desperation is the creator, right? I will tell you a story. I was sitting out on my porch, and I heard a sound on the other side of the land, and my dog, the black lab named Simone, heard it as well. And she lifted her nose to smell the noise. And when I watched that, I heard in my spirit, deep down inside of me, I want to walk on this earth by my spirit the way my dog uses her nose. And she uses her nose for everything. So when I heard that, it was my calling card. It was my call to a deeper walk. I didn't know how, and of course, humans always go to the how of things, and the spirit will always say, "Be still and be," before you go to the how of things. So it was just a small incremental step. I ended up having to quit my day job and seek other employment just so that I could feel my spirit. The 9-to-5 grind will put you to sleep. And the major awakening for that shift after years of feeling pulled into the mechanism, the machine, go up another level, find a higher job, get more money. I did that a little bit, but again, not happy. The final straw was one morning I went into my 9-to-5 job, and I heard this clanging next door in the next office. And doors were being closed hard, and drawers were being slammed, and I just stayed in my office, knowing that somebody was having a fit, which happened now and again. And later on, in the afternoon, when things had calmed down, I went to the door of this person and I said, "How's things?" And she said, "It was a horrible morning." She's 25. It was a horrible morning, and I was not happy. So-and-so did this or that, and so-and-so did this or that. And then I remembered that I had forgotten to take my medicine, my anti-anxiety medicine. And when I heard that, something just broke inside of me. A 25-year-old young woman, beautiful, smart, intelligent, creative, was on medicine like almost everybody in that building so that they could do what they had to do to have insurance and to have a mortgage. And so it was then when I stepped into the heavy prayers of, I don't know who you are, I hear you're this, I hear you're that, but I need some help here. So that came along the same time as the lift in the nose, smelling the world story. I created one of my first spirit groups. It was a group of women, a few women, who would meet at a woman's house, and what we would do is we would go into the woman's house and we would exercise for 30 minutes, and after we were finished exercising, we would go into the living room, and I would facilitate anything that I was feeling like I should do, any type of thing that I could help them nudge beyond the closed, narrow thinking of this is all we see, this is all there is. I was learning that there was a whole lot more, and I felt like I was being nudged to share that. So once a week we would go and we would do that. About probably 6 months into this, I was picking up the debris around a house that my partner and I had just had built. All in the midst of me trying to find my purpose, we built a house. And I picked up this level, this crooked level. You can see that, you can understand why it was left in the debris pile. It was to be thrown away. But when I picked it up, I heard, "Keep it." And I wasn't really good at hearing the Spirit, not a lot of practice. But there's something about when the Spirit speaks, there can't be any denying that there's something else saying something. So I paused. I had at least gotten the habit of pausing when I thought the Spirit would speak. And I looked at this crooked level, and of course my human mind said, this level's crooked, and I don't see any reason for it, having it, but I'm going to keep it. So I took it out into my writing studio, and I set it up in the corner, and it stayed there until 6 months into the spirit group. And I heard at some point during the day, tonight, take the level, that crooked level, take it to group. And I'm saying, okay, I'll take the crooked level to group. And so I did. We exercised, I went out into my truck, I got the crooked level, I placed it in the living room, and I presented the idea that this crooked level presented or represented human thought, human opinion, human way of moving in the world. This crooked level represented ideas around money, females, males, God, children, the earth. We had been handed a crooked level, and within us was this bubble that actually is a great little mechanism for knowing whether or not we're on target. But it doesn't work if you have a crooked level. If you're going by this crooked level, the inner inside cannot lead you, cannot guide you if this is your focus. Fabulous conversation. We had a little work writing episode where we just did stream of consciousness writing about where in our lives the human level, the crooked level, had affected us and what things we were doing to heal that. Fabulous conversation. Amazing women who were very willing to self-educate and self-learn and self-heal. So, went home that night and all pumped up and happy. Usually it took me 2 hours to go to sleep after that spirit group. And next morning I woke up and I thought, gosh, I need to write about this. I need to write about this experience with this crooked level. It's a great metaphor, and it would be so helpful for people to hear this. So I sat down to write it and quickly realized that there probably were people that needed to understand what a level is. As a writer, I understand that you can't just assume that people know things. So I went into Wikipedia and I looked up carpenter's level. Come to find out that these were actually called spirit levels. And the reason that they were called spirit levels is with this fluid within was distilled alcohol so that it wouldn't freeze and so that the bubble would slide easily up and down. So then I put this up on my wall in my spiritual counseling office, and I take it out quite often, and I talk about this crooked level and how we have something inside of us that will direct us and guide us if we stop and if we pause and if we pay attention. Humans are like children, really. I mean, they want to crawl. And then after they crawl, they want to stand up. And after they stand up, they want to walk. And after they walk, they want to run. That's in each of us. And it will take many forms. There's a magnificence in us. There is something that compels us to move beyond what our human selves can do or have done in the past. There's something inside of us that understands that the human condition has been created and is being lived by fear. That we are not reaching our possibility, our full potential. We want to. We have a desire to. There is something in us that moves us in that direction. But the crooked level is loud, it's powerful, it's in place. It's in all of our systems of education, and it's in everything. It's in our education, it's in our politics, it's in our religion, it's in our familial systems. It's in the way we view each other. But the thing is, that thing inside of us is not going to go away. It can't. It's eternal. And it's infinite. So it will keep on keeping on. And it can't be stopped. There's a lot of conversation about the ego. The crooked level is the ego. But I cannot heal my ego by paying attention to my ego. The only way I can heal my ego is by paying attention to that inner side, that inner within, that knows that that was ego. You've heard Marianne Williamson's essay on magnificence. That inner side, that inner in within, that's our magnificence. And we're wanting to go there. We're wanting to go there. We're afraid to go there. And here's what she says. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. And let me just stop myself and say something to you. You've probably read this. You've probably heard it. You've probably even studied it. I'm going to urge you to hear it. And I'm going to urge you to know this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. If you are a follower of Jesus, you might remember that he said, his advice was, don't put your light under a bushel. We're afraid that that light is pride, and it's not. It's that child that has that shine in his or her eyes. So let me tell you another quick story. In my recent spirit group, I was talking about this, getting in touch with our own magnificence, that thing inside of us that wants us to crawl, stand, walk, run. And that many of us just stay beneath the radar because we're safe there, or so we say. So we think, so we hope. But there's something inside of us that doesn't want to hide, that doesn't want to be under the radar, that wants to be fully expressed like every tree, like every child, like every puppy, like every cat, like every animal. A deer, a fawn, throwing her heels up as she's delighted by the dew on the grass. That's what we have inside of us. So, the spirit group, we were talking about our magnificence, and I related a story about standing in Publix, checking out, and the door of Publix opened up, and there's a rush of air that comes, and I found out recently it's to keep the flies out or the bugs out. This man was pushing this little kid in the cart as the door opened, and the little kid felt the air and went, wow! And that's the magnificence within us. That's who we really are. Shortly after telling my spirit group that story, one of the members went on a trip, and she and her sister were out walking on the beach, and she was picking up shells. And she picked up this shell that had perfectly etched this. She took it as a sign from the universe that she wasn't alone, that this journey of coming out from underneath the radar was being supported by something in the great unseen. And when I was out in Colorado, I don't know if you can see this, but when I was out in Colorado, I bought this magnificent little stone. My inner within is going to come out more and more as I allow it. There is something inside of you that wants this. that has been moving toward it. There's an awakening going on in our world, in our culture. We want to be awake. We want to be enlightened. We want to be aware. We want to know who we really are. We want our authentic selves. We want to connect to that inner within. We know that the systems that have been set up in this world aren't working. We were told that you must be afraid. But the little girl knew way back when that there was no need to be afraid. She could do this. She felt that. And many of you actually, if you allowed yourself to think about it, you knew things that your parents didn't know. You probably, perhaps, talked to things that were not seen. You were talked to. You knew things. But we, as children, we have to let that go. We have to then survive and become who these tall people are. They know how to drive, so they are smart. But this movement that's going on right now is about awakening. Awakening to that inner within that the child knew. The veil was very thin then, and it can become thin now. I believe that we're receiving a huge amount of grace so that we can grow into who we came here to become. And in that, we are in service to others. It just is inevitable. As I know that I am loved, I am able to give love. I can't give love. I can't give something that I don't own or know that I have. I can pretend, and I can be polite, but I can't really give something that I do not know that I have. I hope something I've said today has clicked inside of you. I hope that you will feel like Evolve Talk, this show and others, can assist you in your awakening and your enlightenment. It's not an accident that you found this show or that you're looking at this show. There's just 3 things I want you to remember, as best you can. And it takes some focus, as simple as these things are. You are not alone. You cannot get it wrong. You're being assisted by the great unseen. Try to get that. Trust that. Trust yourself, that you have an inner within. You have something inside of you that can be a magnificent guide toward higher consciousness, toward a deeper understanding of who you really are and where you fit in all of this. I'm going to do one of these at least once a month, maybe more. Check back with us. Check back on Evolve Talk and see if there are any other presenters that would benefit you. Become a presenter. We're always looking for presenters. We're always looking for blogs. Contact me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Email me. Contact me on Evolve Talk. I will perhaps in future presentations answer some of those questions. I'm so glad that you were here today. It was not an accident. I am in growing awareness that this work that we do with each other will create the evolution that we're all hoping for. We will turn a dysfunctional paradise into a paradise. Thank you.